2000s were great. Says Trevor, I beg you to make a video about the right simping for TERFs. Good idea, especially since this has been going on for a long time. Now, 2000s, suggested this video from Ryan Kinel, which is 5 months old. However, here's an older video with Tucker Carlson that is 5 years old. This is how long the right wing has been sucking up to feminist, man-hating feminist. Now we'll get into this.
I think many people would in their hearts think is obvious, but very few people are willing to say out loud. You said it knowing you would likely be punished for saying it, but you said it anyway. Why did you do that?
I believe in the truth. I believe that people should have these conversations and say things that matter with...
That's a bold-faced lie. She's a feminist. They always lie. How do I know? Because a feminist took over this platform. She became CEO, Susan Wojcicki, or however you say her name, and all of a sudden, men are finding it hard to get their voices out there. They find their comments erased. So that's a bold-faced lie. What she's saying is she wants to be able to speak her voice, but this woman is anti-truth. Evil will always be anti-truth. So this is a bold-faced lie. Women are feminists are always lying. They can never tell the truth.
Without fear of punishment.
You are old-fashioned. Why do you think... I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm grateful that you have that attitude.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm grateful that you have this attitude. Would you suck her ass a little more, Carlson? And do you realize, Tucker, that this woman hates your guts? She's a radical feminist. She thinks you're evil for the way you were born, and she'd have you in a slave collar in a heartbeat. Do you understand that? Of course you do. These right-wingers, they don't care about being slaves to women. They just care about being slaves to men. Now, before we get into Rowling here, I want to show that you guys, she is not against the, intersectionalist, right? She actually is hand in glove with them. They're having a personal argument in this particular case. But here, J K Rowling, Hermione's characterization, race and representation. Hermione can be black, can be a black woman with my absolute blessing. Now, we all know that J K Rowling wrote her as a white woman, that she prefers her as a white character, that she's probably, Rowling herself is probably racist, right? But she's willing to make concessions to her LGBT allies, her intersectional allies. How come she didn't tell these people the truth that Hermione's white and go kiss her ass? Why didn't she say that? Because she's willing to sell her character out for race. It's not important. What matters to her is sex, right? So now we'll get into this. And Kinel will sicken you because he's just such a typical right-winger.
Obviously, over the past several years, J K Rowling, who typically has probably the same point of view as 99% of the people in the woke crowd when it comes to most things.
You mean feminist? What right-wing cowards never say feminist, right? And the fact that she agrees with 99.9% of everything these man-haters do, because she is one, that doesn't mean we can celebrate this one change, which isn't a change, really, when you listen to it.
She decided she would have one opinion that didn't align with that of the woke echo chamber. Crazy, controversial opinion that...
It's the motivation behind why she's saying it, right? You got to understand the motivation. She doesn't want trans women, which are men in her mind, to gain female privilege. That's her motivation. It has nothing to do with truth. It has nothing to do with truth. It's man-hatred.
Biology is real, that men are men, that women are women. And if you want to go and live your life, whatever, that doesn't mean that everybody should have to adhere to what you think you should be called at that given moment. And it's gotten to the level of craziness where we see a massive boycott attempt for Hogwarts Legacy that turned out to be nothing. Hogwarts Legacy, best-selling game of the year. These
Really? So you're celebrating that? How many games have been destroyed by feminist infiltration that men love? How many? Tons of them. And yet you're going to celebrate the fact that something that was made by a woman hasn't been damaged? Like, you're pathetic. Kinel here is basically a man sitting in a burning house celebrating the fact that someone blew out a candle. That's how pathetic this is.
cancel culture pigs have no effect on J K Rowling. However,
well, that should be pathetic to you then, because they have plenty of power over everyone else, over men, right? I said, have UK men in the UK been arrested for misgendering people? And it says yes. Men in the UK have been arrested for misgendering people. They've been arrested, not simply boycotted or canceled. And so you're going to celebrate the fact that this woman has female privilege and isn't touchable? Like, why you? Well, I know why, you woman worshiping retard.
Things have accelerated to the point where now J.K. Rowling, after misgendering somebody over on Twitter, had the police called on her. And I'm not fucking kidding. J.K. Rowling reported to...
Why are you shocked? This has been going on for years. This has been going on for at least 5 years. So there's no acceleration. Is there such thing as a smart right-wing man?
Police by former Big Brother contestant over transphobia. Rowling says she has harassment claim against the presenter. And it all had to do with this. India Willoughby, who's a news reader in the UK, somebody replied to her basically saying, J.K. Rowling saying, hey, I think that men and women's areas should be separate, that we shouldn't have people coming in of different genders.
This is a bold-faced lie again. She doesn't believe that at all. She doesn't believe that men should be allowed to enter women's spaces. She does believe that women should be able to infiltrate men's spaces. So don't try and pretend to this guy that this J.K. Rowling, this scumbag here, has some kind of principles or stands for anything good or just.
Into different prisons and things like that and assaulting real women.
Assaulting real women. Dude, men suffer sexual assault in men's prisons all the time. That should be a deep concern of yours, because Kinel, you're the type of guy, if you were ever in prison, you'd become someone's bitch in a heartbeat. So the last thing you should be worried about is what happens to women.
Hi, Joanne. So you're saying this lady should use the men's locker room? This is India Willoughby. J.K. Rowling, you've sent me the wrong video. There isn't a lady in this one, just a man reveling in his misogynistic performance of what he thinks woman means. No.
Wow. Wow. See, so for men to not know their place and try to claim that they're women, that's misogynistic. That's the hatred of women, right? What you're saying is these peasants don't know their place. They don't get to join the nobility. That's what Rowling is saying here.
Narcissistic, shallow, and exhibitionist.
And the sad part is, what if shallow and exhibitionist, that actually is just what he sees in women. He's not parroting them. He's emulating them. So Rowling, you should be embarrassed that that's his view of your gender.
Absolutely brutally roast this person. This is a transgender activist who's had multiple online interactions with J.K. Rowling and actually went so far as to report J.K. Rowling to the police. We talked about this the other day. We're going to play a little bit of this video in a second. But the bottom line is that this person, India Willoughby, the biological man who tried to report J.K. Rowling to the cops over calling him a he on Twitter. Unfortunately, the police said, go fuck yourself.
So why are you so happy, Kinel? I don't watch with all the head bobbing. But one thing is for sure, why are you celebrating the fact that injustice exists? So men are getting zapped and thrown in prison over someone misgendering someone. But the idea of J K Rowling, who's involved in all this, who started all this, her not getting the same treatment, that's good to you? This isn't just unfairness. This is injustice. This woman belongs behind bars, just like all the men who were thrown behind bars over this. So what you're doing is celebrating female privilege. You male feminist lackey. Oh my God. I don't know how much more I need to play because this guy's pathetic. This is why we got to ditch the left-right dichotomy, guys. Any right-wing guy who comes into my channel, don't even bother with the leftoid shit. Because the left wing and the right wing, there's no difference in the way they view their fellow man. No difference. None. They're both anti-male. So there's no point bringing it up. Right? So I'm just letting you know that. Remember, women fought to enter men's locker rooms back in the 1970s. Women fought for the privilege, not the right, the privilege of entering a male space where men are getting undressed and they could ogle them while they're naked. And they won. So this is not about women keeping men. Well, actually it is. It's women keeping men out of women's spaces. But it's not due to something good or just. These women want to invade men's spaces, and they do all the time. So this woman is not fighting for a principle. She's fighting for inequality and injustice and hatred. So Kinel, you should not be bobbing your head like this and celebrating the fact that this scumbag got off scot-free when innocent men are being thrown behind bars. Now, I'm not going to go any further because this is riling me up. And Kinel, you are a pathetic little bitch. A woman-worshipping bitch. And I'm going to go further. The men of the UK are pathetic woman grovelers. I'm going to repeat that. The men of the UK are a bunch of woman grovelers. And they're about injustice. They support hatred from this scumbag. They refuse to jail her while throwing innocent men behind bars. The British Isles should be ashamed of itself if it was capable of it. But they're no worse, I suppose, than right-wing losers like Kinel here, who basically make me vomit. And we'll end it here.